Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Kayla Lindsay here with EXP Realty located here in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you are out there and you have any referrals headed into the Charlotte area, go ahead and shoot me an email, kayla@thetrulanegroup.com. Now today we are going to go ahead and get into some very important information with regards to finances. I get this question a lot with regards to how do I save and keep more of my money, because it seems like Uncle Sam is just taking a huge chunk and I'm not okay with that. So we're going to tackle how to keep more of your money in your pocket. And before we get into it, go ahead, remember, and click that subscribe button and click on the little bell next to it. That's going to notify you every time a new video drops. So let's get into it, shall we? How do we save more of our money and keep more of it away from Uncle Sam? Now, I believe in paying my fair share in taxes, but there's a little bit of enough is enough. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the way in which you can set up your finances to keep more of it. Now, step one is going to be making sure that you set up an LLC. Now, I hear this a lot, and it might be just in the North Carolina area, but I hear the phrase, well, I can't go ahead and set up an LLC because my firm said that I'm not allowed to because I'm a provisional broker. If you're a provisional broker and you're watching this, go ahead and watch all the way to the end of the video, because I'm going to have an additional step that you can do to make sure you can reap the benefits of an LLC. So, step number one, go ahead and get with a CPA, get with an attorney. They can go ahead and form an LLC for you for maybe $200 or so. Really simple, really easy. It's pretty straightforward for them. Now, what you're going to want to do is form an LLC that's taxed as an S Corp. All right, that's extremely important because that's going to give you the tax benefits that you're really looking for. Step number two. Step number two is going to be you making sure that you are procuring your firm license. So once you go ahead and have your LLC set up, that's going to be taxed as an S Corp, you're going to take all your tax documents and you're going to get them over to the commission. The commission is then going to go through their process and they're going to submit and get you a firm license. Now, the reason why a firm license is so important is because that's going to allow you to get paid directly to your firm versus to your name. So instead of me being paid as Kayla Lindsay, my firm is going to pay me as the True Lane Group. So it's actually going to go directly to that, but we're getting to that right now. So step number three is going to be you making sure that you get with your firm and you submit your firm license, your new firm license. So for me, it would be the True Lane Group. Submit that as well as your tax documents. Those are going to be the items, plus possibly a few other paperwork depending upon what your firm requires. You can go ahead and submit that to them, and then they can set it up so that all of your commission checks are cut to your firm licensed name or your team name in lieu of you as a person. So my firm cuts all of my checks and sends them all direct deposit to my business bank account. That's coming next. To my business bank account labeled the True Lane Group LLC. You're going to want to make sure that you set up the correct bank accounts. So you're going to go to a local bank, and now I recommend two things. One, you're going to want to pick a bank that is really easy to work with, okay? People that have the online banking, that take a picture and deposit your check, literally anything you can think of, you want it to be really easy to work with. Here's another thing to keep in mind. I highly recommend credit unions. The reason for that is because you want to cut down on your expenses, and we're going to get into this in other videos. You want to keep your expenses extremely low. So if you've got a bank that's going to be charging you $35 every time you want to transfer money out of a bank or into another bank's account, that's just not going to fly. Make sure you're talking with your bank to express what your needs are up front so that you can try and cut back on those expenses. And sometimes they'll let you just go ahead and waive the fees for you because of all the business you're going to be bringing into their bank. Now, once you've picked your bank out and have decided where you intend on banking, you're going to want to open up 6 checking accounts. I know that seems like a lot. I'm going to tell you why. So the reason you want 6 checking accounts is because you're going to actually divvy up your funds and your money when your commission checks come in so that you can keep track of where things are going. So your first account is going to be your income account, and that's where all your commission checks are going to come into. Perhaps if you have other things that are attached to your business, that's where all of those fees and everything is going to come into, is right into your income account. The next account is going to be your operating expenses account. Then you're going to have your You guessed it, your executive compensation account, because we've got to get paid too, right, for all this work we're doing. You're also going to have an education account, and then you're going to have a temporary profit account and a temporary tax account. I'll go into why those are temporary in just a second. So you're going to divvy up, as each of these commission checks come in, what percentage you're going to put where. There's a reason for this. Have you ever sat down to a dinner and you realize you have this huge plate that you can finish? Well, even if you weren't that hungry, you'll probably finish most of it and maybe overeat. Now imagine you go to a tapas restaurant and they give you this itty bitty plate and you don't think it's going to be enough, but by the time you finish it, it was just right. We're doing the exact same thing with our finances. It seems that with real estate agents and most other, obviously, other businesses that you can just pull from the same pool of money, if you see that there's $20,000 in there, how likely are you to spend that entire $20,000? Pretty darn likely. And then tax time comes around and then your kid needs braces and then other expenses come up like a flat tire and suddenly you realize you didn't go ahead and budget for any of it. So here's why we split this up. I personally split it up in this fashion. You can do it however you choose, but this is how I choose to do it. Now, we're going to choose profit first. So the reason for this is because we want to make sure at the end of the year we actually made a profit. How many years have you gone by that you've had great years except nothing to show for it? So, first off, when we get our income in, I do this 2 times a month. And what I'm going to do is divvy out in certain percentages. So, in my profit account, I'm going to take 10% of whatever income came in and I'm going to put it into my temporary profit account. Then I'm going to take 15% of whatever came in that month and I'm going to put it into my temporary tax account. We're going to talk about this in a minute and why they're temporary. Then I'm going to take 5% and put it into my education account. Education is extremely important, and I know you'll hear me harping about this over and over, but if you have the opportunity to be educated, coached, buy a book, go to a seminar, consistently educate yourself so you expand and open yourself up to opportunities. And what this is going to do is you don't have to guess whether or not you can afford it. If that money's in there, you're going. So I put 5% into the education account. Now remains the last 2 accounts. And if you've been doing the math from here on out, you can kind of tell where we're going with this. I usually give myself, or I consistently give myself, 35% to my executive compensation account, 35% of what was made. Then the remaining, here's the key, the remaining amount, and the way it works out for me is it's 35%, but the remaining amount of whatever's left over from that goes to operating expenses so that we can work within our operating expense budget, because that now becomes a budget. You can't spend it if it's not there. So go ahead and start from there, and I'll dig deeper into a future video as to why we want to make sure that we're pulling each of those in that order and why the profit is so important. So now that you have your business bank account set up and set up into the buckets that you need them set up, here's the next step. The next step is going to be payroll. Now before I get to step 5, which is payroll, I'm going to go ahead and put a little sidebar for everyone out there who is a provisional broker and keeps hearing that they can't get an LLC. I want you all to do step 1, which is go ahead and form your LLC that is taxed as an S Corp, and I want you to do step number 4. Skip number 2 and 3, but do step number 4, which is opening up that bank account and making your buckets, okay? Now, you can also do step number 5, so this is for everybody. Step number 5, now we have to go ahead and find a payroll company. Now I know some people that do this on their own, however, I don't know about you, but I really need to focus on actually procuring new clients and doing business. Payroll is not something that I enjoy, nor is it something that I want to have to do, because it'll never get done. So I hired a local payroll company that charges a nominal fee to cut a check or do direct deposit. Now the reason for this is because we want to be paid as an employee of our firm, of our LLC. The reason for this is because when the IRS is looking at that, they want to make sure that they're seeing that you're an employee, not that you're just dipping into your business account as your own little piggy bank. And if you're being paid a salary, it's less likely that that's happening. So by paying that salary to yourself, you look like an employee, you are an employee, and you're paying the taxes of an employee. Don't get too caught up in the minor fees of it. Please understand that the reason we're doing this is that you can keep a bigger chunk of your money at the end of the day, because companies and LLCs, especially those that are taxed as S Corps, actually get to keep a higher percentage of their money because there's more that they can write off. So, step number 1, go ahead and get your LLC taxes and S-Corp. Number 2, go ahead and get your firm license, and that's going to be through the commission. Step number 3, submit that into your firm, your current firm minus EXP, and go ahead and get them to start paying your firm, start paying your LLC, not you directly. Step number 4, open up that business banking account and set up those buckets. Number 5, you're going to want to make sure that you go ahead and reach out to a payroll company so that they can start paying you as an employee as well as your employees, so it's off your plate. So I hope this helped some of you kind of get started and really try to understand that we are entrepreneurs. We are truly running a business, and we have to have that business boss mindset. Otherwise, we are going to get lost and we're going to spend so much more money than we need to. So follow those 5 steps, and I'm going to have a follow-up video to this, which is talking about getting the proper CPA and why that's really important. Once again, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe below. Click on the little bell so that you get notified when we have any new videos. And I would love to hear back from you. Comment below. What is your current system? What are you using? Who are you banking with? And what are some of the advantages that you found for that? I would love to feed off of some of your information and see if we can help others in the process to becoming true business owners in real estate. Thanks everybody. Hope you have a good one.